Recording is going to show how to set up styles following the WVU brand guideline in InDesign. So we're going to go ahead and say new document. And for your assignment in class, you're working in print. It's going to be 8.5 by 11. And it's only going to have one column. But what's important is we want to set up margins. And we want them to be even from top to bottom, left to right, so that you have some guidelines of where you do not want your text or logos or other elements to be outside of. So we set up margins in this area. You can lock them so that all margins will move cohesively to change, so if it's locked, or they'll be independently. So here, once they're locked, if I change one, then they all change. So I think about, and you can click preview here so that you can see the change, and you can probably choose 0.5 or 0.375. All right, so once you create it, then you'll be able to start working. So I have one already created, and I've actually brought over some screen captures of the two styles that we're going to set up. So one is our palettes. So we're going to come into Window, Color, Swatches. And these are the default color swatches. So we're going to come in and say New Color Swatch. And here we're going to do a CMYK mix, and you can see we have this here. So it's going to be 100, 69, 8, and 54. And we can change the name to WVU Blue. So now that's part of our color swatches. Again, we'll go here and say File New Color Swatch. We can click here so that we can call it WVU Gold, and we're going to use this color code. So it's 0, and I tab to the next field, 30, tab to the next field, 100, and 5. And I can click OK. So what's important here is we want to stay on CMYK because InDesign is for printing, and so we have our 4 inks for printing: cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. All right, so those are, now here we can come and we can say select all unused, but we haven't used any yet. But basically, if you don't want these default colors, you can shift click between them and delete, and have just your black registration and your blue and gold. All right, so that's how you'll use your colors. And now you can actually, I'm going to use my rectangle tool, draw this rectangle. I can swap my fill and stroke, and with this selected, my fill, I can go to WVU Blue, WVU Gold, so that's how I can access my colors now. All right, so we're going to do a similar setup for your styles. So Window, and that's going to be under Type, and we're going to start with Character. All right, so we have our character styles. We're going to say File, New Character Style. And we're going to base that off of our type hierarchy. I'm going to move things so we can see it a little bit better. I'm going to zoom in a bit. All right, so we know that we have our headline. So here I'm going to say File, New Character Style. And this is going to be WVU Headline. Come into my basic character formats. This is where I'm going to say Helvetica. And I'm going to select down to Helvetica New. Now my font style is going to be the condensed black. My size is 82. My leading, which is the space between lines of text, is 66. The kerning is the space between each letter, and here you can set it to optical. And those are really the decisions that you need there. So you can say OK. And now you see you have WVU Headline. So if I take my text tool, there's two types of well, let's see here. I'll take my text tool and I'll click and drag and make a box of text. I'm just going to type WVU Headline. You'll see that it defaults to whatever I had as my style. I can now, with this selected, click WVU Headline, and you can see it becomes that Helvetica New with all those styles of leading and size that we talked about. If you do not want it to be hyphenated, you can come here where you have paragraph and click hyphenate, and it will force it to fit on one line. All right, so now we have our character style, the WVU headline. So the next one that we're going to make is our sub-headline. So I can go here, new character, WVU, sub-headline. Similarly, we're going to go into basic character formats. This time it's going to be Helvetica Bold. Size 24. Leading 26. And this time the kerning is metrics. Okay, and you can test it. We could select the text again and make it a sub-headline. You could see it changed. So another thing to note here, actually if we go back into the WVU headline, and when I typed this in, I did it all in caps. So I'm going to go ahead and do it lowercase now. And one thing that we note is that our headlines are always all capped. And it says headlines using Helvetica Condensed Bold should always be set in all caps, which is really condensed black, so that must be a typo. So we can come in and double click and it will pop up our options. And in basic character formats, it has case. And we're going to go ahead and say all caps for the headline. So now that fixes when this is the headline, it's all caps. When we go to sub-headline, let's go into it. And we want it to be normal. Okay, so now it's normal. All right, so the only one in the WVU type guidelines that's all caps is that headline. All right, so you're gonna continue doing the same thing for each of the sets. So this one's gonna be WVU title. On based on, we'll say none, it's gonna be different. Basic character format, we're gonna use Iowan. I'm not sure that I have that loaded yet. I do, Iowan old style. It's a Roman, so it's not bold. 24 on 28 is its leading. It's asking for metrics. It's going to be normal. We'll say okay, and we'll test now for this one. The title, we can see it changes to a serif font. All right, so you're going to continue through and add the body copy and the caption, and these are character styles that are stored in your styles, and then you also have your swatches where you've added your colors.